Honestly, this was a wonderful episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! As we got to see a very creative duel in where one person used a duel disc while the other didn't. Plus, we get to see more of Asaka's personality, and when it came to that life point sound effect from Yumu, man, that was adorable. Hello everyone and welcome to Dueling with Downton, and today we're here to talk about all things episode 28 of the Yugioh Go Rush anime series. An episode that sees Yuki dueling Asaka in what was a very wholesome duel. Seeing all the UTS members teaming up to help Yuki with his duel by basically offering their creativity and artistic skills while also their acting prowess, I thought was just... it added an element to the episode I was not expecting and much appreciated. This whole involvement from them just showed how loyal and dedicated they are to helping the Odo twins. Most people would think dressing up as these monsters would be very embarrassing, but instead of that, they took pride in helping Yuki, and that says a lot. And I think this segment where we see them all dressing up and all helping Yuki with his duel pairs perfectly with the earlier segment in UTS where Yuki was upset about not being able to duel because of no Valor gear. So after hearing this, the adults are doing their best to inject some excitement / enjoyment into Yuki's duel in hopes of making him feel better. They're being very supportive here, like we've seen them be many times before, but this just takes it to a whole new level. If that doesn't show loyalty, dedication and caringness, then I don't know what will. Not to mention what this does for the watcher, that's you and me. You're either going to find this duel super cringy and you're going to hate it, or you're going to love it. And personally, I loved it, as this was something new that we hadn't really seen before. The closest thing to this I can think of is maybe Duelist Kingdom in Duel Monsters with Yuki versus Bakura, where you see little Yuki as Dark Magician, Joey as Flame Swordsman. You get the idea. Or you got Yugioh GX with the Costume Party Celebration Duel. Either way, if you're relating it to that, you're getting some nostalgia. And even for the type of presentation that we got, this wasn't over the top for Go Rush's standards, as in both Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s and Go Rush, we've seen even wackier and crazier things. And here's the main reason why I liked it. It made me laugh. Heck, even Asaka laughed. And Asaka has been presented in this episode as being cold and heartless. Yeah, she still laughed at it. So all round, UTS is wholesome. We're staying with the duel now, and seeing Asaka's monsters for the first time in the series, this was awesome. As some of the basic monsters were just like, well, whatever. One of them did remind me of Mario. However, her ace monster looked amazing, and the effect is super powerful as well, allowing you to destroy all monsters on your opponent's side of the field by just discarding 2 monsters of your own, which in the Rush Dueling format is relatively easier to achieve. Another note about this duel is obviously Yuki using a card, or trap card, called Thunder Sparks, a trap card that reduces your opponent's attack by 500, very similar to a certain card that Yugi used in Curtain of Sparks. Also, both Yuki and Asaka are using equipped spell cards. Now, they are going to become more frequent moving forward within the series. That's a given. However, before we saw our main cast members use them, I wish we learned how they obtained them. Like with Asaka, I would imagine that she paid Rovian to give her one. But Yuki, I don't see how he would have got his, unless Rovian sent each member of UTS one equipped spell card as an apology for all the things she put them through. Either way, both equipped spell cards were great. Even Yuki's worked brilliantly with his new ace monster skill that allowed him to basically gain piercing damage with the equipped spell card, and his new ace monster turned monsters into defense position and massively dropped their defense points. Awesome combo. Okay, so now on to the characters, starting with Asaka. This is the most on-screen time that we've had from her character since her debut, and the characteristics they displayed from her were all great to see. She clearly has a lot of pride, especially when it comes to her family name and heritage. She is a person who demands the most respect, plus she believes that she is the most powerfulest person in the town, because the fact is the Mutsuma machinery helped build this town, and she is the head of that company, making her the most powerfulest / most influential person. Now, the way they showed Asaka's character did come across like she had a bit of a god complex. And another example of this would be when she's basically not worried about any repercussions that her actions might cause, as we see her constantly move the excavator throughout the city without prior warning. And if someone is in her way and she wants to get rid of them, or they're being a nuisance, she'll just buy them out like we saw with Manya. There's also the element of ruthlessness from her character, as we see her basically slave driving those Vulgarians, forcing them to work endlessly to power the thrusters of this spaceship, in hopes of escaping the Great King of Terror. Again, this would also link to a dislike to aliens that we already know about her character, as we don't see a single human being working for Asaka to fuel this spaceship. Yet her dislike for aliens can't really be that deep or traumatic, because we see her working alongside a alien known as Bad Rap. A dub rap variant, if you will. If you don't know what I mean by that, well, Bad Rap is a talking pigeon. Yet Asaka, who disliked aliens, doesn't mistreat Bad Rap. Instead, she shows respect towards it, unlike her partnership with Kawitel. But underneath all of those emotions and those characteristics, there lies responsibility and kindness at the heart of it all. She has to be ruthless and use these Vulgarians to escape the Great King of Terror, because it threatens the lives of those in Mutsuma Town. She has to be a leader to them, and she has to basically do her duties and due diligence in order to ensure their safety. So her refusing to keep her promise links back to her wanting to protect the people of Mutsuma Town. But when she comes to understand that they're out of danger, she's got compassion enough to follow through on her promise and release them, thus giving them back to Yuki. So yeah, I really like the display from Asaka in this episode, and I know we're going to get a lot more development from her character in the future, and I for one cannot wait to see what they do with it. But in the meantime, she really should apologise to Yugioh, because the poor guy only wanted to make his own bakery. And yet, she crushed it. Poor guy. As a side note though, the purple haired girl does come back on screen and she talks a few lines. Yay! Now, as for Yuki, this episode was an episode that gave him a lot of focus, and I loved how they tied everything back into his relationship and bond with Vala Volgia, saying things like, that's the only dual disc for him. He'll never use another dual disc other than that. Of course, this is something in the future Yuki is going to have to accept and overcome, because they're not going to be around all of his life. But what I especially liked about Yuki was his desire to free Vala Volgia after seeing how they got mistreated. Before seeing this, he clearly missed them and wanted to see them, but now he wants to save them, as what Asaka is doing to them is inhumane and not right. You could see / tell the desire that Yuki had to save them, both in his expressions and in his dueling ability. We see when there's not many stakes on the line, and it's just a bit of fun, Yuki gets overconfident and goofy, so he ends up losing. But when there's something important on the line, Yuki actually does get serious and pulls it out the bag and plays a lot better than normal. And we saw that type of skill from him in this episode, in this duel against Asaka. So yeah, a lot of desire from Yuki, as not even money would sway his resolve. Plus, dueling with a mat and cardboard, while your opponent stares you down on a massive excavator, that takes a lot of courage. Yuki, you were very respectable within this episode, and I appreciated that. But yeah, honestly, I thought this was a really fun episode, and now Gohan Yuna is rejoining the group in the next episode, so things might hopefully get a bit more plot involved. Oh, and the Rovian segment was like whatever. The most noteworthy thing from the segment was the whole Gome no Sorry thing. She's an ally now, yay! But how and where is this train going? Because doesn't it lead to the alien residency area? And if that is still a place that we can access, oh, don't tell me. I thought we were going to avoid them. The Jersey Devils are coming back, aren't they? Oh well. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. And I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Alligator, matinee, goodbye.